What are some of the mindset mishaps that result when people misunderstand a strong mindset? Well, in this mini tutorial, we are going to cover that plus so much more. I am your coaching instructor, Louise and Maurice, and I want to thank you for sharing your time with me. I'm going to make it worthwhile. We're going to go through a real-world case study. Then we're going to apply my evidence-finding framework. We're going to look at key concepts in personality psychology, and I'm going to guide you how to apply it so that you can develop a changes in mindset technique as well as client-specific coaching questions. Now, if you are not familiar with my 5-part framework, then you want to hang tight. I'm going to quickly remind you before we move into the case study. Let's continue. Strong mindset mishap case study details. You recently attended a mindset seminar. You were intrigued by the strong mindset techniques for developing resilient success. The focus of the seminar gave you ideas to motivate people. With every session thereafter, you start implementing powerful imagery and metaphors to support strong mindset development. A week after implementing, you notice more division and defense mechanisms being used. You address the issue and hear this response. In our session last week, I now understand that I need to take aggressive control so that people don't mess with me and I feel more assured of outcomes. No one likes me anyway, and I've never felt like I belonged. So your strategies have helped me see that when I do things my way, I can resist the need to fit in. You are caught off guard because the Strong Mindset Seminar didn't prepare you for this outcome. All right, you just listened to that case study. After listening, the evidence, what evidence were you able to find? Remember, this is the proof and understanding those mishaps. What attitude was evident? And the point of view or perspective, which one was evident? And the language, does it give you some ideas about the mindset that they have? And then after listening, who is the person that you found? You're that detective looking for those clues. Who did you find? All right, if you haven't had an opportunity to write down your responses, I want you to do that because as we continue on, I'm going to be sharing with you some insight and then we'll be able to compare notes. As a coach, consultant, team leader, or manager, you have to be able to identify people's attitudes. And when you're listening to that case study, their attitude is often a result of an experience or even their upbringing, and it can have a powerful influence over their behavior. And they made reference to the need for control, but aggressively controlling, because that's going to help them to deal with unknown outcomes. And when they know that all of a sudden they're assured of outcomes, that helps them to feel a sense of calm and relieves anxiety as well. Now, what was their point of view or perspective? Remember how they see everything. Well, they come from that place of no one likes me anyway. I've never felt like I belonged. So that is their perspective that's driving them. Everything that they see comes from that belief. So you have to be aware of that because when you're aware of their perspective, it helps you to ask those questions that brings awareness for them because you can see it, but they might not see it because it's just something that has always driven them, that belief that no one likes me. Now, what language did they use? Strength. Strength means being aggressive and doing things my way and having control. So they are not going to cooperate or collaborate, and that might be getting in their way. Did you recognize that person? Well, I just gave you some hints. Because if they are not going to collaborate or cooperate, they might be the person on your team that is stopping the team from gelling. If you're a coach or consultant, then this might be someone who, if they feel any type of weakness or you are guiding them in a way that the red flags come up and they're feeling that they've got to be strong. Yes, this is what I was missing. All of a sudden, they might be more defensive. Those defense mechanisms might be coming up. Where does the misunderstanding start? We were listening to all of the evidence, but where does the misunderstanding start? Well, it starts with the definition. And yes, the dictionary definition is important, but it's the meaning that people give to the word strong, to the association with being powerful. And we see these two words here, strong versus weak. It's that polarity. And the meaning that people attach to it will either draw them toward having a strong mindset or pull them away from having a strong mindset, because it's just not aligned with who they see themselves as, yet even though it might be a positive thing. So how do you change this or support it? Well, that's where understanding psychology helps. We are now on the website, Wikipedia website, the free encyclopedia for personality psychology, and this is a fascinating area of psychology. So I'll have the link for you on that PDF document available on my website. Toward the end of the video, I'll show you exactly where to find this. But right at the beginning, this area right here, you just want to have a quick read, because personality, it's dynamic, an organized set of characteristics possessed by an individual that uniquely influences their environment, cognition, emotions, motivations, and behaviors in various situations. And the word personality originates from the Latin persona, which means mask. And this is where, when you are coaching, consulting, leading people, working with people, even people in your own family, even yourself, you understand that when you are put into different environments, you will see a different mask come on. And after reflection, you might think, why was I acting that way? What happened? So you want to have a read through this and understanding that personality pertains to the pattern of thoughts, feelings, social adjustments, behaviors persistently exhibited over time that strongly influences one's expectations, self-perceptions, values, and attitudes. And when we were going through the dissection, the debriefing of the case study, I talked about perception, and the case study that we were looking at, that perception of, well, no one likes me anyway. And this is just something that has influenced their personality over time. They believe that about themselves, so they project that into every single experience that they have. And they might see themselves as being weak, trying to get people to like them. And when you share insight from that seminar that you went to, all of a sudden now they take on the opposite view. Okay, well, I'm going to be strong now. No one likes me anyway. I'm going to be strong. I'm going to do things aggressively. And it's that misunderstanding of that definition. And they see strong as aggressive. And many people have been socialized to see strong as masculine, weak as feminine, and they don't want to be that way anymore. And that is not the way that it is at all. So you start by using coaching questions, and the coaching questions will definitely help them to understand and be aware, and then it will help you to understand their awareness and where they see themselves. But the coaching questions, when you look at the philosophical assumptions, it's freedom versus determinism. Heredity, which is nature, versus environment, which is nurture. Uniqueness versus universality, active versus reactive, optimistic versus pessimistic. And you can read about these, but your coaching questions can help them to understand, well, do you have freedom in the way that you show up? Do you feel like you can be free, or is it determined by the outcome that you want to achieve? Now, when we look at these coaching questions and the steps, again, this is on that PDF document, it will help you to really base it. What are their goals? What do they want to achieve? And what has been getting in their way? Understanding that starting place. Because when you have that starting place, it can help you to guide them in a more specific way. And that's what you always want to focus on, being very, very specific. But looking at these philosophical assumptions, because when we talked about polarity, it's one versus the other, and helping them to understand what that is. Because then when you develop a technique, it is about helping them to understand, okay, so when they don't have a strong mindset, what challenges do they experience? And they might feel more anxious, because the opposite is true. If they feel more weak and people take advantage of them, then what is the outcome that they are experiencing? And when they do have a strong mindset, what benefits will they experience? Now, if your client already has a strong mindset, they're already aggressive, then, and that's getting in their way, they're not connecting with people. If they've got relationship goals, or if they have career goals and it's stopping them, then you want to actually ask those opposite questions and then develop a technique to help them bring more of the opposite into their experience. Because with personality psychology, it is helping them to really relate to the parts of their personality that are blocking their success, and helping them to expand parts of their personality that they may have hidden. And that's where the techniques come in. So I always talk about role play. I love role play. But when we're talking about personality, bringing in parts of their personality that they may have hidden, you can use two sides of a coin and flipping that coin, and heads and tails are parts of their personality, and having them act out or describe for you that, hey, if I were to be this way, what is the worst that could happen? What's the best outcome that could happen? And getting them to feel more certain, because remember, they want to have that control. So work with that so that they feel more self-assured, as opposed to anxiety, which they don't like to feel anxious. All right, so that is some ideas for you, the coaching questions. Again, I don't know your clients. I don't know the teams that you work with. That's where you obviously have that insight, but those are just some suggestions and how you can use this in developing those techniques. Well, that wraps up our strong mindset mini tutorial, and I want to thank you for learning with me, especially if you are here right now. That means that you've gone through everything, and I applaud your commitment, because the more that you understand people and you understand the blocks and obstacles that might be stopping them from being their best, living their potential, that's when you truly are making a difference. But in this video, you learned that real world case study. Hopefully you were able to understand some of the case studies that exist in your own life, applying that evidence finding framework to pull out those important details so that you can apply the personality psychology to develop those changes in mindset techniques, as well as the client-specific coaching questions. This is an ongoing process that you'll be using all of the time, because each and every person that you meet, that you work with, they're unique. And you should always be very specific. Now, remember to head on over to my website, louiseandmaurice.com. You want to click on free, then empowered mindset, locate the strong mindset PDF document to download. It's free. No email address is required. Now, we are nearing the end of our Empowered Mindset series, but you know that I love teaching. I love sharing with you so much insight. So if you are not a subscriber of my channel, make sure that you subscribe and I will share with you just exactly how you do that as you continue on.